بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أنبياء الله جميعا وعلى سيدهم وخاتمهم حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد، اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل إنني هداني ربي إلى صراط مستقيم دينا قيما حنيفا ملة إبراهيم. قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين. And infuse your hearts with a loud salawat for Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Oftentimes, Muslims complain about the Westerners misunderstanding their religion. This is what we complain about all the times, that Americans, Canadians, Europeans, they misunderstand our religion. But tonight I'm going to discuss with you and speak about how Muslims misunderstand their religion. So why and how they misunderstand their religion? There are many reasons as to why many Muslims misunderstand the true message of Islam, the spirit of Islam, the goals, the objectives, maqasid al-sharia. How and why? As to why they misunderstand, there are many reasons. Number one reason is obviously ignorance. When people do not read their religion, they don't read about it, they don't discuss it, they don't research, they inherit religion from their forefathers without taking the time to go and read and compare and contrast their religion with others, definitely they're going to remain ignorant. And this is going to be a biological and material and physical following of Islam, not spiritual or moral. Their bodies could pray, perform 5 daily prayers, but their hearts are not connected to religion because they don't understand it. Another reason it could be, some people, they have knowledge, but they are still naive. Naivete. They are naive. They are not open-minded. They live in their own cocoon, in their own world. They are disconnected and secluded from the rest of the world. They live in their own homes, villages, cities. They know nothing about what is going on around the world. They know nothing. This is why their views and their fatwas are incomplete. And sometimes it's very hurtful too, because he doesn't know what's going on around him. All what he knows is that his followers, some people surrounding him, his city, his village, his qawm, his community, He knows nothing about how this universe is so big and diverse. This is why I always say to the scholars, you cannot be a good scholar until you travel the world and you meet civilizations and you meet people and you speak to them and you know about their lives. It's not enough to know about ourselves. Our knowledge is not going to be integrated. This is the main purpose why God created us into tribes and nations. لِتَعَارَفُوا. So you travel to get to know others. It will enrich your mind, broaden your horizon. It will deepen your understanding of the human communities. So some of them are naive. Not because they are ignorant, but naive. Secluded from the rest of the world. Some of them, they still live in the Ice Age or the Stone Age. Not long ago, I saw a clip of a sheikh in one of the Arab countries was speaking to a large crowd in the mosque. And he was trying to convince them that the earth is flat, is not round shape. He spent 1 hour telling them that the earth is flat. This guy, he comes from the Ice Age. Yes, he lives in the 21st century, but his mind is somewhere else. He's naive. This is one. The other reason is about bigotry, تعصب. كل حزب بما لديهم فرحون. Some people, they don't want to study the true Islam because they don't want to read these books or these literature. Exactly what the people of Nuh did to him. قال رب إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا فلم يزدهم دعائي إلا فرارا. I worked 24/7. This is exactly what he said. 24/7. ليلا ونهارا. Day and night. But they kept running away from me because they were bigots. They had bias against him. They did not want to listen to him. They would close their ears and cover their eyes. وإني كلما دعوتهم لتغفر لهم جعلوا أصابعهم في آذانهم واستغشوا ثيابهم. They draw their clothes on their faces, not to see me. They did not want to hear. They had a prejudice. You know how many Muslims, they deprived themselves from the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt, the family of the Prophet, because they don't want to listen to read a Shia book. So they deprive themselves. This is bigotry. Allah says you have to listen to all. الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلِ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَ. Go and shop for opinions and ideas. Go and shop around. Listen to all. There is no harm in listening. Someone was telling me the other day, can I go to a church and listen to a pastor? I said, why not? Why not? If you have a good brain, then go. But if your brain does not work good, don't go. Because when you have a good brain, good intelligence, you're going to listen. If some of these ideas, they make sense, they really make sense, they are not contradictory, then you may embrace them. There is no danger in going to a church or synagogue or a temple, as long as you have good background, good education. Your education is solid. There is no harm. God says they listen to all opinions and they choose the best. فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ هَدَاهُمُ اللَّهُ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. Those are the truly guided. Another reason for why Muslims misunderstand Islam, because of some radicalism in both schools, in Shia Islam and Sunni Islam. Yes, we have some radicals. How is that? There are some people who follow a cult, not the religion. They created a cult. They follow a sheikh, a sayyid, a leader. They blindly follow him and listen to him. They don't open up to others. They treat this sheikh as an idol worshipping. They sanctify him. Whatever he says is correct, even if he doesn't have knowledge, even if he's ignorant. This is idol worshipping. One day in Mecca, they were worshipping idols, the statues. Another day, they worship a human being. They listen to a human being. من استمع إلى شخص فقد أطاعه وإذا أطاعه فقد عبده. The hadith says, if you listen blindly to someone and you don't challenge that person and you assume everything that person says is correct, and you don't want to open up to other arguments and other ideas, then you are worshipping that person. فَإِنْ كَانَ النَّاطِقُ عَنِ اللَّهِ فَقَدْ أَطَاعَ اللَّهِ. If that person is speaking the truth on behalf of God, then you are worshipping God. وَإِنْ كَانَ النَّاطِقُ عَنْ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ فَقَدْ أَطَاعَ إِبْلِيسِ. But if that person does not speak on behalf of God, he brings nonsense of his own, not of God, then that person who listens to him is worshipping Satan. Is worshipping Satan. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful. You may listen, but you may not believe everything. You have to compare. This is the job of the reason, aql, is to compare, is to double check. Before you believe and act, you have to challenge this idea. Is this correct? Is this right? You have to do a research. So these are some of the reasons why people misunderstand Islam. وقالوا ربنا إنا أطعنا سادتنا وكبراءنا فأضلونا السبيل. We blindly followed our leaders and forefathers and our sheikhs, so they took us astray in the wrong direction. This is why we are not here today. We are failures on the day of judgment. We could not find our way because we blindly followed certain people. This is what happens in both the traditions, my friend. We have this a problem today. Today, in today's world, we have it. Many young people, they follow someone who created a cult. And he makes up theories. And people follow him and sanctify him and respect him and honor him and pay their money to him. This is misunderstanding of Islam. Now, how Islam is misunderstood? I'm going to mention a couple of points tonight. Point number one, Islam is misunderstood when we separate between reason and faith. When aql, reason, and faith, religion are separated, then Islam is being misunderstood. How does that happen? Always reason moves in the same direction, hand in hand with faith. There is no clash between them. They move, they are synonymous actually. And they move parallel to each other. Aql and deen, parallel to each other. They support each other. They are in harmony with each other. There is no clash between a true religion and sound reason. If one day you find there is a clash between sound reason and religion, it means there is something wrong with that religion. Something wrong. That religion is not authentic. The authentic religion always moves parallel with sound intelligence, with sound reason. And this is in the Quran. And this is in the Hadith. لا دين لمن لا عقل له. There is no faith for someone who does not have reason. Because once he loses his reason, immediately it means he lost his faith. وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب الجحيم. If we used our sound reason, we would have been today in this terrible situation. We would have been somewhere else in paradise, not part of أصحاب الجحيم. قوام المرء عقله. قوام المرء. The essence, the quintessence of every person is his reason, his intelligence. And therefore, look at the Holy Quran. In almost every chapter, Allah speaks about the people of ulul albab. Those who possess reason, possess aql. Allah says, this aql is my biggest gift to the humanity. Take it serious. Utilize it. Use it in finding your way in this life. Always Allah speaks good about those. He says, the most successful, those who listen to me, those who follow me, are ulul albab, those who possess intellect and possess reason, and they incorporate their reason. And when Allah speaks about knowledge, He does not say only knowledge. He says hikmah. Hikmah. وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. What does hikmah mean? Hikmah is not only knowledge. Hikmah is knowledge blended with what? With intelligence and wisdom, with understanding, with discernment. Not just knowledge, not any knowledge. A knowledge that intertwines with discernment. This is the meaning of hikmah. Hikmah is to know what to say, when to say, why to say that. If I go to this next door church here and I want to invite them to goodness, I cannot go there and say, oh, Christian people, listen to me, don't drink. This is not hikmah, this is not wisdom. Oh, Christian people, your women have to wear hijab. This is not hikmah. Because they are Christians. If I go there, I have to tell them what are the similarities between our religions. If I want to have a nice approach, intellectual approach, rational approach, then I have to know what to say, how to say, when to say. This is hikmah. This is why God says, when you call for me, incorporate hikmah. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah. Not only knowledge, not whatever knowledge you have in your brain, you can throw it at people. No. You have to know what to say. You have to look at people. Are they ready to accept what I am saying or not? Is this speech good for them? It suits them or not? This is hikmah. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah. Incorporate wisdom when you invite people. Don't be like that person who invited his Christian neighbor to the mosque, and he said to him, the first thing after saying Islam, you have to pray 5 times a day. So the guy started praying Fajr. He knocks at his door, he brings him to Fajr prayers. Then by the time the guy goes home and have a breakfast, he comes again and he knocks at his door, come to the Dhuhr prayer. He still has not reached home, his wife, he knocks at his door, come for the Asr prayer. After a couple of hours, Maghrib prayers, Isha prayers. The following day when he went to invite him, the Christian said from behind the door, he said, this religion is good for you, not for me. I'm busy, I'm a family man. Keep it for you. You have to know how to invite. You have to know how to invite. Sometimes we do the same with our children. We overburden them. I want you to do this dua, that dua, this, blah, 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 blah. In some of the nights of Ramadan, people are like robots. Just dua, 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 without reflection. The nights of Qadr are nights of thinking and reflection and meditation. Not just reading without understanding. This is not hikmah. This is not wisdom. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. Believe me, the quality. This is why the hadith says, تَفَكُّرُ سَاعَةً خَيْرٌ مِنْ عِبَادَةِ سَبْعِينَ سَنَةً. If you give yourself a chance to reflect for a period of 1 hour, one period of thinking and reflection about God, about your responsibility, why I am here, what should I do? It's better than worshipping without understanding for 70 years. Islam is about quality, not a quantity. Quality. So now when it comes to the relationship between reason and faith, we have 2 traditions in Islam, 2 philosophical traditions. One of those traditions are called Al-Adliyah. The other one is called the Ash'arite, Al-Ash'a'ira. Adliya are divided into 2 sections. One section is Imamite, Imamiyya. The second section is Mu'tazilites, Al-Mu'tazila. Those are the Adliya. What is the Adliya? Let me make it very simple. Adliya means those who believe that God based His rule, His commands, on justice. God based the entire universe on balance and justice. So God would execute justice in every sphere of this life. God does not overburden us. God would not hold us accountable if He does not give us the message first, as I mentioned last night. Ash'arites, on the other hand, they say, no, God is above the law. God is the only one in this universe above the law. So God can do anything. Nothing is binding Him. He's controlled by nothing. So even if you worship Him 100 years, He can simply take you and toss you in Jahannam on the Day of Judgment. Even if you disbelieve in Him for 70 years and you disobey Him, it's up to Him. On the Day of Judgment, He can toss you in paradise. لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. And they bring this verse in the Quran that nobody is going to question God. We are going to be questioned, but not God. We say, yes, nobody is going to question Him. But God, He's not above the law. God created the law. God created the organization. God created the discipline. So even Himself, He's not above the law, because He Himself says, I'm not going to do something arbitrary. Everything I am going to do is balanced. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَظْلِمُ النَّاسَ شَيْئًا. He cannot toss anyone in hellfire because he doesn't like him. No, because he did something wrong. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَظْلِمُ النَّاسَ شَيْئًا وَلَكِنَّ النَّاسَ أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. God is not going to violate the rules that He created. Even in this country, in these countries, when there are rules of a traffic, you find the Prime Minister, the Speaker of the Parliament, the ministers, they respect the rules of the traffic. Though they were the founders and the executors of these rules, but they are not above these rules. God is the same. He says, yes, I own you, but at the same time, I'm not going to mistreat you. I'm not going to do injustice to you. So this is the difference between the people who believe in adl, divine justice, al-adliya, on the one hand. On the other hand, the Ash'arite who say, nobody can question God. Now, what is the difference between them? The difference is that the adliya, which consists of two schools. What are the names of the two schools? First of all, Imamiyya and Mu'tazili. Exactly. Imamiyya and the Mu'tazilite. They believe that there is no clash between reason and religion. They believe in something, in a maxim which is very important. Listen to this maxim and memorize it. The maxim states, التحسين والتقبيح العقليان. It means that, I'll make it simple. It means that human reason, human intellect is capable of determining the objective existence of good and evil. What does that mean? I'm going to simplify that. They believe in moral objectivism. What does that mean, moral objectivism? It means that it is the reason who tells you what is good and what is bad, before religion. So even if you live in somewhere on earth, you did not read the Quran, you did not read any scripture, any divine book, you did not hear the Prophet, you did not hear about Islam, about Christianity, about God, even if you live in such a place on earth, still your reason is going to tell you what is good and what is bad and what is justice and what is injustice. Even if religion does not reach you, still you are able to survive, to make it through. Because reason takes precedence. Reason is first, religion is second. And this reason is created by God. It's not a foreign object. This reason, where you can understand what is good and what is bad, what is evil and what is good with it, is the product of God. And God installed this reason in you. Because God intends salvation for you. God gave you reason, his biggest gift. Whereas the Ash'arite, they say, لا حكم للعقل. Aql, reason, does not have a say. Only Sharia has a say. We follow the Sharia. فالحسن ما حسنه الشرع والقبح ما قبحه الشرع. Whatever good is good because Sharia is telling me is good. Whatever is bad is evil because again Sharia is telling me evil. We tell them, no, you are wrong. You are wrong. First reason, second Sharia. In fact, reason is the primary source of detection, of understanding. Sharia is a secondary source. Sharia came to support reason. Are you with me or not? So reason first, Sharia second. God created Sharia, prophets, books to support the reason, to uphold reason, to reaffirm what reason tells you. Of course, the sound reason, not the reason that is intoxicated with the dunya. Not the reason that intoxicated with wine, with alcohol, with the drugs, with injustice. No. With corruption. Not that reason, the sound reason, the healthy reason. So this is the difference between the Adliya on the one hand and the Ash'arite. The Adliya, they say, it is reason that says this is beautiful, this is ugly. Ash'arites say, no, it is Sharia that tells me what is good and what is ugly. There is a debate. Now, who can solve this problem for us? Who's right? Look at the Quran, and the Quran is going to tell you who's right. I'll bring you one verse of the Quran, and you will judge who's right, the first group or the second group. The Quran says, فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ. We have given you fitrah, natural instinct, natural disposition, the reason inside you. The conscience inside you is going to tell you what is right and what is wrong. It's a built-in system. It's an inherent system. So even if you are born in a jungle and left in a jungle, when you grow, you're going to know this is right, this is wrong. Injustice is good. Injustice is bad. Justice is good. Even if you don't see any prophet, even if you don't read any book, there is something inside you. Fitrat Allah. It's a built-in system by God. It comes with the creation that tells you what is right and what is wrong. You don't have to wait for a prophet to come and tell you. You don't have to wait for Quran to read it. These Qurans and Bibles and the prophets, they came to support the reason. They came to support the fitrah. You are born with your fitrah. كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. Every newborn baby is born knowing God, monotheistic, Muslim, worships God. It's the parents who corrupt their children afterwards. It's the society that corrupts. It's the social media that corrupts. It's some of the schools and neighbors and friends that corrupt people. Otherwise, if they are left with no peer pressure, with no external influence, people are going to grow right and pure and righteous. So this is the difference between one school which is called Adliya, which consists of two schools. One of them is Imamiyya, which are Shia school. The second is Mu'tazilite, which is Sunni. But they agree with the Imamiyya that God, they agree that God is just. They believe in divine justice. And they say God, even God is not above the law. God adhere himself to his rules. He does not break his rules. He can break. He's the king. He's the emperor. Nobody can charge him. But he would not do that. Why? Because God is also an example for us. God does not tell me to do something and he doesn't do it. Neither he's going to tell me this is forbidden, don't do it, but he will do it. He would not do that. Otherwise he cannot be a God. So he's not above the law. He abides by the law that he created for himself and for others. Whereas the Ash'arite, they read the literal meaning of the Quran. They cannot dive. They don't have that ability to dive deeper, to discover the truth about the Quran. They follow a man called Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. He was a scholar. But of course, when you don't learn from the Prophet and Ahl al-Bayt, you are not going to score points, unfortunately. Now, my friends, reason should not be separated from religion. Therefore, sometimes you hear some scholars here and there. They speak something which is irrational, does not make sense. Sometimes some of their fatwas, some of their opinions, some of their speeches are mythical. They are fantasies. They are not in line with reality. They are not practical. Not practical. Islam is a practical religion. Islam did not come to make my life difficult or miserable. Islam came to make our life easier to practice. If you make it difficult, people cannot practice it. But sometimes we hear some voices from here and there that they speak things that are not in line with rationality. They are actually irrational narrative. I gave some example, and I have many more example of that. Let's go to Tawheed. I'll give you an example how sometimes when a scholar does not use his brain and he only depends on a text, and that text could be wrong. That text could be wrong. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam says, اعرفوا منازل شيعتنا على قدر روايتهم عنا وفهمهم منا فإن الرواية تحتاج إلى الدراية وخبر تدريح أفضل أحسن من ألف خبر ترويه. What does that mean? I'll translate that. Imam al-Sadiq says, know the position, the level of our Shia through their understanding of our narrations. So the more better they understand our hadith and our narration, the greater they are. And then he says, فَإِنَّ الرِّوَايَةَ تَحْتَاجُ إِلَى الدِّرَايَةِ. When there is a hadith, riwayah, transmission, story, you have to analyze it, you have to understand it. Don't be like a parrot to repeat it without understanding it. Don't. You have to study it. You have to dissect this riwayah. This is why we have something called ilm al-hadith, ilm al-rijal. Scholars, they spend years and years studying this hadith, whether this hadith makes sense or not. Whether this hadith is in harmony with the Quran, with Ahl al-Bayt, with the Prophet or not. Even the Prophet himself, he says, if something comes to you that does not make sense, irrational, فَضْرِبُوا بِهِ عَرْضَ الْحَائِطِ. Throw it against the wall. Trash it. We don't say something nonsense. Everything we say is based on logic, is based on reason, is based on the Quran. There is nothing illogical in Ahl al-Bayt school. Nothing illogical. I'll give you an example. Some of the Muslims, if you read what they say, you're going to be shocked. And this is why many youth, they don't attend mosques because of the nonsense being said there. Do you know why many youth in some Muslim countries, I'm not speaking about this country, in some Muslim countries, you go to the mosque, it is reserved for people who are 70 and up. No one is below 70. You know why? Because youth, they don't attend. When he asked him, why don't you attend? He says, doesn't make sense what this imam is saying with this sheikh. Their speech is only fantasy, myths, mythical stories, not real stories, not true stories. They contradict science. They contradict reason. So we are not going to benefit. They make people run away from mosques, from Islamic institutions, because of the low quality of what they say. Does not make sense. One of the stories, when it speaks about God, it says God on Laylatul Jumu'ah, Thursday night, He descends from the seventh heaven to the first heaven through what? Do you know through what? Not an elevator. I wish an elevator. Otis or some not an elevator. He rides his donkey. Can you imagine? This is an Islamic book. This is an Islamic scholar. This is an Islamic madhab, Islamic tradition. Mujassama, they believe in the incarnation of God. He has a physical body, and then he rides his donkey, and with the donkey, I don't know whether he uses parachute or not, I really don't know. And he comes to the first as-sama'ul ula, the first heaven, so he can hear our conversation. So if I say God, so he's close by, he can hear me. This is in Islam, my friends. Where is this with reason? Does this make sense to a person with sound reason? Another tradition in the books also, it says God, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa, he sits on the throne. When he sits, he overtakes the throne, and you can hear the noises coming from his chair. Can you imagine? Those are Muslim scholars. They believe in this nonsense. This is regarding Tawheed. When you come to the Anbiya, the way they speak about Anbiya, I know some of these stories are borrowed from other scriptures. But again, it has been repeated in some books of hadith in the Islamic tradition, books of hadith, that Noah, after the great flood, when he disembarked from his ark, he found some wine and he was drinking, and he became drunk, and he became naked. This is in the books. They say, Astaghfirullah, Lut alayhi salam, Prophet Lut, he slept with his 2 daughters. Can you imagine? Can you imagine these things? Being found in the Islamic tradition, not non-Islamic. These are Islamic books written by Muslim scholars. This is when you separate between reason and religion. This is the result. Or when it comes to the fatwa, some of these fatwas are really horrible, disgusting. How many of you remember about 15 years ago, there was a very famous fatwa in the Middle East, circulating in the Middle East. It is entitled Rida'ul Kabir. Do you remember it or not? The nursing of the adult. I don't want to go into details, believe me, because it's XX rated. I don't go into details. Check it out yourself. This is fatwa by some scholars. And when the scholars was charged, and he was asked, why do you say this nonsense? He says, this is in our own books. Go and check it out. In Bukhari, in Tirmidhi. Or some of the fatwas when they speak about women. Don't allow them to learn. Okay? Don't allow them to go to school. لا تعلموهن الكتابة. Don't allow them to write or read. Let them be illiterate. Okay? They should not come to the mosque. It's makruh, undesirable, unrecommended for a woman to go to the mosque for a Friday prayers. So if she doesn't go to school, and if she doesn't go to mosque, and if she doesn't know how to write or read, how she's going to be the teacher of my son and my daughter? How can I ask her to be a civilized person if I don't allow her to go to school? These are contradictions, my friends. This is when you take reason away from religion. When you take it out, this is the sort of religion you get. Or the treatment of the children. Treatment of children. If they don't wake up for Salatul Fajr, you have to carry a stick and go and discipline them. Imagine if you do that in Canada. Don't do that, please. You will be deported, I'm telling you. These are things that are irrational. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. We have to filter the hadith. The hadith has to be filtered. At some points, any person who was able to formulate a few sentences, he would fabricate a hadith and then ascribe the hadith to the Prophet. قال رسول الله, قال رسول الله, قال رسول الله. It's filled with fabrications. You have to use your mind, you have to use your brain, your aql to filter the hadith, to get what is accepted. Hadith has to be refined. Or some of these narrations that speak about the non-Muslims. And on certain televisions today, satellite TVs. I hear some of the scholars repeat these stories again and again today. One of them was saying that you can acquire a non-Muslim lady because she's muharib, she's non-Muslim. And if you go to their countries, if someone is walking in the street, you can just jump on her, kidnap her, she becomes your wife. Khalas. Can you imagine? Wallahi, he says this on television. I would burn such television station, believe me. I'll burn it to ground. These things are happening nowadays. Why? Because when they separate aql, when someone is not utilizing his aql, this is the result. This is the discourse. These are the fatwas. When you take the aql away, we have to be careful. God has given us the school of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. We have to be proud of this school. The school that is in alignment with the Quran, in harmony with the Quran, in harmony with the true revelation. And Allah speaks the truth always. You don't know how much people lost when they shifted away from Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. When they shifted away, this is the result. Many of those radicals, you know why people joined ISIS? 99% of are shallow-minded. 99% of those who followed ISIS and joined ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Because either shallow-minded or narrow-minded, both. Both. Allah says, don't be naive. If you are naive, they're going to take advantage of you. They're going to recruit you. They're going to brainwash you. You should not be brainwashed. Al-Muslimu fatin. The true believer is intelligent. Intelligent, incorporate his mind. We have to incorporate the aql in everything we hear, everything we say, with every judgment, with every analysis. We have to use the brain. بالعقل يطاع الله ويعبد وبالعقل يعرف الله ويوحد. It is only through brain and reason you can worship God, you can discover God, you can obey God, you can follow God. بالعقل. Take care of your aql, use the aql. Don't tell me about stories here and there. Islam is a scientific religion, rational religion. Everything is based on aql. There is no contradiction between religion and aql. Whenever you find there is a slight contradiction, it means that idea, religious idea, does not work. It's not working. It's not authentic. It has been brought from somewhere. It's not what the Prophet said or the Imam said. Wallahu yaqulu al-haq. God speaks the truth, and His Prophet and His Imams, they speak the truth too. So this is number one why Islam is being misunderstood by Muslims. The second reason why Islam is being misunderstood by Muslims, let alone non-Muslims, is when you restrict and confine religion only to the matter of akhirah, not dunya. When you confine and restrict religion only to tahara and wudu, but you don't speak about the dunya. God says, استجيبوا لله وللرسول إذا دعاكم لما يحييكم. The message of Islam is not only for the akhirah, for the dunya too. وابتغ فيما آتاك الله الدار الآخرة ولا تنس نصيبك من الدنيا. Yes, you have to seek the akhirah with it, but at the same time you have to take care of your dunya. Islam should not be confined within the walls of the mosque. Islam should be in the market too, in the street too, in the economy too, at home too. Not just in the mosque. Maybe some other religions, they tell you, you can practice your religion only in the church, only in the temple. But Islam says you can practice part of it, 1% of it in the masjid, 99% of it outside. With others, with your family, with your neighbors, with your friends, with your co-workers, in your school, in your hospital, in your neighborhood, in the street. Islam is not just meaningless rituals or dead customs. No. Islam is the way of life. Islam is full of life, full of energy, full of optimism. Islam is not only wudu, the way you wash your hand, you wash your body. The way how you earn money, how you protect your family, how you build your country, how you strengthen your society. These are Islamic principles. Islam is about political participation. Islam is about civic engagement. Islam is about economy. Strong economy, healthy economy, economic development. If a country says, I'm a Muslim country, but there is no economic development, then that country is not Islamic. The first job of Islam is to protect its own citizens, is to give them a sense of dignity. An Islamic government is the government that is concerned about the safety, security, dignity, progress of its own citizens. This is a truly Islamic government. Islam came to eliminate poverty, not just to tell me how to pray and fast. Islam came to eliminate diseases. Islam came for healthcare, for education, for a strong economy, for the development of the families, for my dignity, for my prosperity. Islam wants me to be happy. قُلْ مَنْ حَرَّمَ زِينَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي أَخْرَجَ لِعِبَادِهِ وَالطَّيِّبَاتِ مِنَ الرِّزْقِ. We want you to enjoy the zina of this life. We want you to be progressive. We want you to be rich. We want you to move forward. We want you to build your societies. Islam does not want to see any beggar in a society. Today, go to Muslim countries. How many beggars we have? Go to Mecca, go to Medina, go to Najaf, go to Karbala, go to Qom, go to Mashhad, go to Cairo, go to Casablanca, go to everywhere. What do you see? What do you see? Islam is about the dignity of the people. Islam says in the economy, لِكَيْ لَا يَكُونَ دُولَةً بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. We don't want the money to stay in the pockets of few while others are deprived. There is no deprivation. Islam says there should be no poverty, no deprivation. Wealth has to circulate. There should be no monopoly. Only few have control the wealth while the rest are suffering. This is not Islamic. This is not religion. لكي لا يكون دولة بين الأغنياء منكم. Prophet Muhammad says, ما آمن بي من بات شبعانا وجاره جائع. He's not a Muslim who sleeps the night with a full tummy. His stomach is full while his neighbor is hungry. He's not a Muslim. This is the true Islam. الذين إن مكناهم في الأرض أقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأمروا بالمعروف ونهوا عن المنكر. When they are established in the land, not just they pray, آتوا الزكاة, they activate the economy. Zakat is about economy, strong economy. It's about welfare system. See, in Canada you have welfare system here. In America they have welfare system, but in Muslim countries they don't have welfare system. No welfare system in Muslim countries. They are practicing Islam here, not us. Us, you hear the adhan. At the time of adhan, 1,000 minarets. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But in the market, Allah is not there. God is not there. Mercy is not there. Compassion is not there. There is a fraud, there is corruption, there is theft, there is exploitation, there is all sorts of crimes taking place. We are good at building mosques, but not practicing the true spirit of Islam. You know what is the true spirit of Islam? Read Surah Al-Hadid. Surah Al-Hadid, chapter 57. Who's major in chemistry? Who's a major in chemistry here? Some of you are pharmacists, yes? What is the number of iron in the table of elements? 57. And Surah Al-Hadid in the Quran is 57 too. Can you imagine? Chapter 57 is called Hadid. In that verse, Allah says, لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانِ. We sent books, messengers, prophets for one reason. What is the reason? لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. For social justice. Social justice. So you don't find someone who's begging you. You don't find someone who's sick, who has no health care. You don't find a homeless in the street for social justice. Not just the prayers, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Prayers which is empty is not going to benefit. We do pray, so we go immediately to help people outside. Even Salatul Jumu'ah. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةُ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Don't stay in the mosque. You came to the mosque just for refueling. Not to sleep in the mosque, not to stay in the mosque. Just to refuel yourself, to energize yourself, to get inspired, and then you go into the market, you go into the country. You go outside into the society to help, to build, to participate. لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. This is the spirit of Islam. لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. So people live up to social justice. Where is social justice today? Where is it? We find it in these countries, not in Islamic countries. It's a pity. It's a pity. It breaks my heart. Every time I go to the Middle East, I come back depressed and sad. For the number of the poor, number of orphans, widows, people who are left, people who need some medicine, simple medicine they can't afford. In Muslim countries. Imam Hussein stood for social justice. The revolution of Ashura is about social justice. Because Bani Umayyah, they were mired in corruption, in theft, in fraud, in cheating, and exploiting the masses. اتخذوا مال الله دولا وعباده خولا. They controlled the wealth only for themselves. They deprived the masses. People went hungry. Someone like Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, the greatest companion of the Prophet. The Prophet said, this man is my greatest companion. ما أضلت الخضراء ولا أقلت الغبراء على ذي لهجة أصدق من أبي ذر. No one is more truthful than this man. This is what the Prophet says about him. Do you know the story of his death? How this man died? He died because of lack of food. During the reign of the third caliph. During the reign of the Umayyad regime. He died because of lack of food, of starvation, malnutrition. He died in the desert. Before him, his wife died, and before her, her son died. Only the daughter survived. And the daughter was able to stand on the highway when the caravan passed. She said to him, هَذَا صَاحِبُ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Come help me. Save me. My father is the companion of the Prophet. He's dead here. Come and carry his body. Imam Hussein stood for social justice, to bring about dignity and life and happiness to the people. He was not interested in the seat of government. He wasn't. This is why he was training people and inspiring them. Because society was mired with corruption at that time. So he needed more leaders. He was coaching some people at that time. And some of those people are his ashab, his companions. I tell you a story of one of them who was a Christian by the name of Wahab. Wahab was a Christian with his mother and his bride. He was a newlywed. He accepted Islam at the hand of Imam Hussein. And they continued journeying to Karbala with the caravan. Once they accepted Islam, they decided to continue their journey with Imam Hussein. So when they arrived into Karbala, on the day of Ashura, his mother comes to him. She says, Wahab, why are you standing? Wahab, we just became Muslims. So in order for us to crown our achievement, to crown it, let's give our blood also to Imam Hussein, to Islam. This is the biggest success. He said, of course, my mother. Bala wallahi af'al. I will do that. I will give my blood. His wife, newlywed, she said to him, please do not bereave me. I'm attached to you. If you go, I have no one to take care of me. And I don't want to be widowed soon. I want to spend some time with you, so don't go. He didn't listen to her. He went into the battlefield. He was fighting until he was wounded. He came back. He stood before his mother. He said, Ya Ummah, araditi anni? Are you okay with me? She said, لا والله حتى أراك تقتل بين يدي ابن رسول الله. No, I would never be okay with you unless I see you being martyred right before the grandson of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His wife said, please don't go. He left again. Few minutes later, while he was fighting, he heard his wife behind him saying, يا وهب قاتل دون الطيبين أبناء الطيبين. Please carry on fighting. Carry on fighting, Ya Wahab, my husband. He turned, he said, what happened? Why did you change your mind? Minutes ago you refused me to go. What happened? She said to him, يا وهب لا تلمني إن واعية الحسين كسرت قلبي. رأيته واقفا بباب الخيمة وهو يقول ألا أهل من ناصر ينصرنا. I saw Imam Hussein standing helpless. He says, are there any helpers to guide us, to help us, to be with us today? He broke my heart, so I decided to come and encourage you. Go on and fight and defend this pure household. While he was engaged in fighting and defense, he was killed. His wife rushed to him, cleaning his head from blood, from dirt. While she was sitting, she said to him, هنيئا لك يا وهب الجنة. Congratulations on receiving the intercession of the Prophet, on going to paradise. أسأل الله أن يجمعني بك في الجنة. I ask Allah immediately to gather me with you in paradise. Before she finished her sentence, a soldier enemy from Bani Umayyah came and he dealt her a fatal blow on her head. فكانت أول شهيدة قتلت من أصحاب الحسين. She was the very first female to be martyred among the companions of Imam Hussein عليه السلام. قضوا حق عليهم دون الأخيام ولا خلوا خوات حسين. تنظام لما راحوا تهاووا منهم الهام. تهاووا مثل ما هو النجم منخار قام يشيل بيهم فوق صدره ويمددهم على رمضة الغبرة. عقب ما صفهم نادى بعبره بصوت يلوج من العرش واللوح. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين. Friends, there is a believer, a mu'min in Iran who is diagnosed with cancer. He's a relative to one of our friends here. So please raise your hand. These are holy nights. Definitely with your broken hearts, with your tears for Imam Hussein and his family, Allah is going to answer your prayers. So please join me in reciting this verse for him. And for all other people who are suffering, for those who have hajat and needs, so Allah would fulfill their needs inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. 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 يا الله اللهم من على مرضانا بالشفاء والعافية. المريض المنظور والمنظر المنظورين اللهم ألبسهم جميعا ثوب الصحة والعافية. وعجل في فرج قائدنا وإمامنا صاحب العصر والزمان. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والشهداء ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.